Okay, so in this video we are going to learn how to add event listeners with JavaScript. So in our CSS, when we use the pseudo class and especially the pseudo class like the hover, the focus, that is like an event listener. So you notice that for instance, like the hover, it only applies our CSS when the mouse hovers over that element. If the mouse does not perform that action, the CSS is removed. So excuse me. So that is like an event listener. An event listener is a special type of function, or it listens for a particular event from the user. So it can be a click event, as you can see here. It can be a key up event, so when a user clicks a button and releases it, or it can be when a user submits a form. But in JavaScript we don't have the hover just the way we have it in our CSS. We can have, for example, the mouse over and the mouse leave. So that can give you the behavior of a hover event. So this is a special type of function that listens for a particular event. So only for one particular type of event. So there are so many types of events. An example has been given here: click, key up, submit, mouse over, and mouse leave. If that event occurs, then a function or a function will be fired that will do something that you, the programmer, want to do when the user fulfills that event. So event listener listening for a particular type of event. They don't listen to any other event, only that type, only that one that is specified that they should listen to. And once that event is being fulfilled by the user, it carries out an action based on how you program it. So there are two ways we can add event listeners to our page. We have the HTML event, and we have the DOM event. And we are going to see an advantage of, at least one advantage of the HTML event over the DOM event, and another advantage of the DOM event over the HTML event. So let's start with the HTML event. So I'll go to my VS Code, open my VS Code. Then the HTML event can be added using the internal JavaScript or the external. Remember, this one that we're using here is the external. So let me show you how we can do that using the internal. And this internal, we use it when the project is very small. You don't have to, maybe you don't want to write, maybe the script for the page is not much, so I have to remove this source. So let me assume that if this page loads now, if the page finished loading, I want to do something. So I will say on load. So there's that one. Then I will say alert. So you can write valid JavaScript here. Page loaded. So if I save this, and if I go to I'm already on my browser, so you see page what loaded. So each time this page finished loading, to show me what page loaded. But this is valid if it's just this alert that I want to write. But what if I want to write series of code statement to do a particular stuff when this page load? Then you notice that using this will not work. So what is usually done is to invoke a function here. So I will say handle page load. So this is just a convention that I usually use, which I learned from React, but it's not compulsory. The function can have any name. So we've not yet learned function. Yes, we've learned function. So we know that we can declare a function in two ways, either using the arrow function method or the function keyword. So the one I'm going to use now is the function keyword. So function, then I'll paste that, no, not that, handle page load, and I'll paste. So you notice the action still occurs. So when the page loads, it will just fire up this function. So it will just come and look for this function here and execute the code. So if I want to write more things, I can do that here. But like I said, this is only used, this internal JS is only used when the application is small. I don't want to write and the script is small. But this same code now, if I transfer it to my external JS, it's still going to work. So if I save this, you notice that it didn't work again, but it throws an error that it can't find the function. So let me add that here. So add HTML event. So if I paste that here, notice it does not throw an error again. So excuse me. So you see the page still works. So that is it. Now, one advantage of the HTML event over the DOM event is this. While I was practicing for this video, I observed that when I added this load event from the DOM using the DOM method I will soon learn, it didn't work, but it worked on the HTML event. So that is one advantage. So there are some event listeners that seems to have been removed from the DOM event. So you can add it from the DOM, you can only add it from the HTML event. Then one advantage of the DOM event, adding event listener using the DOM method is this, that you can have access to the event object. So in this instance, I cannot have access to the event object here. If I try to do that, I'll have an error, so I will not waste my time. So that is just one of the advantage. So there are some event listeners that works best using the HTML event, and if you try to add that using the DOM event, it will not work. Then one major advantage of using the DOM event is that you have access to the event object, which opens so many windows of opportunity for you to have access to so many built-in method and properties when an event occurs, to do amazing things. So with that in mind, let's switch to, so I don't want this to keep coming up, so let me remove that. So this is the DOM event. So to add an event listener using the DOM, of course you need to select the element first, then add your event listener. So we use this h1, so excuse me, dot add event listener. So the type of event we want to add is a click event. Then I'm now going to add my anonymous function. So an anonymous function is a function that does not have a name. It is just created without a name inside another function. just like this now, or yes, when invoking a function, so that it fires, it is being handled when this event listener function was written. So it is anonymous because I cannot use it outside of this this context, because I did not save it as a variable name. So just like this now, this one looks like the variable name because I can reference this function and use it. But you see this anonymous function, I cannot reference it, so that is what it is called. So when this click event occurs, it will fire this anonymous function and do whatever I want to do here, or what I specify. So what I want to do now is, once the user clicks on this heading 1, it will change the text. So h1 dot the text content, I'll put text changed on click. So if I do this, page will reload. Now if I tap this, you see text change what on click. So this is just what you can do using the click event. So another beautiful thing that we can do using using this click event is to stimulate what seems to be a dark mode. So if I click on the button, it's going to change the entire page to what? A dark mode. I'll click on it again to a light mode. Now when you're learning JavaScript, if you don't use it to do projects, you will not appreciate the power of what you can use JavaScript, that basic knowledge that you just learned to do. So as you may have noticed, and as you noticed throughout the course of this project, once you understand the basic concepts, I want you to do a small project that will not take time. Then your assignments too will also be tailored to that direction, so that you'll be solid as a JavaScript developer. So let's do that. So we want to create a dark mode feature. So let me write the steps, the algorithm for it. So algorithm, just as I explained from that video, is a step-by-step method of solving a problem, which can be complex or not complex, but it gives you a step-by-step method to solve the problem. So the task now is this: create a dark mode feature on user click. Create a dark mode slash, I'm using pipe symbol, light mode. User click. So when the user clicks on the button, let's say it's on dark mode, it will change to what? To light mode. When you click on the button again, to change to dark mode. So let's do that. So what are the possible steps I need to take here? So now the possible step I need to take here is this. So let me write the steps. Is this: get the toggle button, get the toggle button Then the next one is what? Get the body tag. Then next is add an event listener to the button. So on click of the button, change of the button, change the mode and text. So let's leave it at this. So this is the step. So we get the toggle button, we get the body tag, then add an event to the button tag. Then when we click, then we toggle between the light mode and dark mode. So let's do our markup. So we are going to add, remember we've removed the nav bar that we use JavaScript to create. So let's create our custom one. So now, so we just need a button here. Dot toggle. So to do that, so this will have a test of dark mode. So if I save this, it's going to look like this. So we are just going to leave it here for now. There's no CSS for now. Okay, we can add a CSS there. Simple CSS. Now text align right, then the padding right should be 2, 3, too much, 2 arrow here. So if we do that, it's going to look like this. Okay, nice. So that is what we have there. So the next thing we want to do now is to do what? Is to target that toggle button. So we say let mode, because it's to change the mode for us, let mode be equals to document dot query, sorry for that disturbance, query selector, then we select dot toggle. Remember that is the name of the class we are using here, so it's toggle. Then we've already selected the body before, so we'll not repeat that. So that's our save our time. The next thing is to add an event listener to the button tag. So this is mode dot add event listener. Then type of event is click event. Then we'll add an anonymous function where we have access to the event object. So on click of this, we want to change the dark mode, but we don't want to start writing the characteristics of how the dark mode will look like using JavaScript. So we want to add it using an external JavaScript. So let's do that. So I'm going to create a class here, dot dark mode, then I'll add it background color should be black, then the color should be white, and that is just basically it. So let's save that. So you notice it will not be applied. So what we want to do now is this. On click of this, we want to add our body tag, dot class list dot toggle. Now remember, we've used this add before, so the add is to add a class. Then it has remove is to what? Remove a class. But this toggle is a special function given to us out of the box. Now its job is if it toggles, so if we click the first time, it will add the class if the class is not already there. If we click again and the class is there, to remove it. So we don't need to write a logic for that. Just give us out of the box. So say dark mode. So if I save this, so you notice if I click this button now, so let's see what is the error. Dark. See, what you write is what you get. My mode was not spelled correctly. So as a developer, you need to know how to debug your code. So you should know when you are right and when you're not right, and the possible cause. And that's one thing about CSS. CSS will never show you where this line is or where the error was, but if it's JavaScript, you can manage to see it on your console. And you're having one error here, one cut reference error. Sorry, cannot read property of index 100. Reading add event listing now. So 100 is maybe here. Oh, see another type of error, triple G instead of double G. So it couldn't find that class, so it returns that error. So that's why I love JavaScript. JavaScript is smart. So if I click on this now, we have the dark mode. So you notice, if I click on it again, it removes. And the next task now is to change this text, so that if I click here, it will change the text to light mode, to increase the user experience, to show the person that if you click on this button again, to take it to the light mode. So we don't want the user to guess that if you click again, take it to the light mode. So let's do that. But what is the logic for doing that? So we have to find a way to know when the class of dark mode has been added. Then if it has been added, we want to change the text to light mode. Then if the class has been removed, we want to change it back to what? Dark mode. So to do that, let's play around a little. So that's what you should do when you want to write a logic like that. You have an idea of what JavaScript is thinking, so that you can write your logic and it will work. So we have body dot class name. So we want to know the classes that has been assigned to this. And remember, a class value can have many class values. So this class name will bring all of them. So if there are 10, it will be there. So if I click this, it will bring the dark mode. I click, the dark mode has been removed. I click again, is there. So I can use this as a condition in my if statement. So excuse me. So I'll clean this off. So if, so I like to use a string here, so that I will not have issue with what I want to do. So dot includes, then I will now put dark mode. So remember, if we can just write it without the include, we just use our maybe our equal to operator or the strict one. But if it happens that the body tag has another class, then you see it will not match. But we just want to know if it includes this class, so which is a more way to mitigate that error if the body class or the body tag has more class values. So we want to change the text, so we say mode dot the text content should be equal to what? Light mode. And if it does not contain, which is else, we'll change it back to what? Okay, so we'll change it back to dark mode. So let's test our application to see if it works. So I click here, you see change to what? Light mode. I click, it change to dark mode. Very nice. So the next one I want to do is the submit event. Or let's do the mouse in event first. So the next one is the mouse in event. So let's do that for which part of our UI? So excuse me, let me check my battery. Okay. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so we have this now. So the next thing that I want to do now is this, is the mouse over. So let's do that for our P1. So P1 dot add event listener, then mouse over. So there are so many event listeners. Then put our event object in case we want to use it. Then I'll just do a console.log. So let me show you one of the uses of this event object. So e.target. So it will show me the element that triggered that event. So you see now, so now you notice it's showing me this and showing me all the attributes. So that has worked. So the next one I want to do now is the submit event, and with that submit event we have to create some form. So let's do that. So let's do the markup for a form. So we'll come down here. So I'll just clean this up to have some room. So I have a form. So we'll remove that action because that is usually used in PHP. In JavaScript we can use the fetch API or other third-party package to send to our backend. So we don't need that. So I'll use the feed set. So the feed set is just like a div, but it's only unique to a form, kind of to group form imputes that are related. So we want to take the following from a registration form. So I have something like a H3. Say register to join. So I need tab, so I need a label to hold my first name, or let's not waste time, just use the full name. So in this full name I want to have an input, and the input will hold my full name, which is in text. Then I want to type these two things simultaneously, so my alt, I click here, so this will be full. Why is it not typing? What's this? Okay, I think something is wrong. So full name, don't know why that is not working. Full name, so that is for that. We want this to be required so that the user can submit this form without filling this. So that is it. So we'll move to the next one, which is want to get the email. So all these points sorry, that have my full name, I change this. Why is my alt refusing to work? Okay, let's leave that. Email, I think it's because of the recording app I'm using. Email, so yeah, email. And just to have some front-end validation, put email. So that's all. Then email. See the stress this thing is given to me. Okay, so we have that now. So the next one I want to take is the password. So I can use another technique. So paste here, password. So the last one I want, the next two I want to show you is this. So we still have a field set, but now I want you to get the gender. So we have a label. Label, expand tag, say gender. Then in this span tag we want to have a label for male. I put here male. Then I want to have an input. So this one will be radio button. Then this one will be gender. So the name will be the same so that the user cannot select more than one option. Of course, that is what a radio button does. So I'll put here male. Then my alt is to work. I don't know why that thing is not working now, because of the position of the alt. So yeah, I want to use it, but that is okay. So I'll move down, I'll change this to female. Change this to female. Then I also need to add a value, so I won't want to get so if the user selects this, I want it to return a male. Then if the user selects this, the value will be what? Be female. Okay, and we don't need to put a required here, because if we put a required in these two inputs, that means the user must select both of them. So to do that, another way to do that is to put a checked here, so that the male is pre-selected. So if you want the female to be pre-selected, put it in the female. Then the last one, just to show you how to, last one, another fit set. Then I'll put here a label of terms. So I put here terms. Or accept. Then here I'm going to put an input, and it's going to be a checkbox. Then the name will be what? Terms. The ID will be what? Terms. And this of course will be what? Required. So we can add a span tag here. Say by clicking you accept something like this, then you have an anchor tag that goes nowhere. Say our terms and conditions. So the last one, we have a field set, and we have a button of submit. Then the type of button should be type submit. Okay, so this is how basic it can look like. So let's save and see what we've done so far. So you see it's registered to join, so the person can have the first name, the email. We have the email twice, so that one should be a password. So that should be a password. So you have the full name, the email, the password, the gender. So you see that the mail is pre-selected. Now why we use the label here is so that if I click on this label, it will add a focus to this. So if I click on this, you select this. This should be a female. So let's change that. Female. So you see, so if I click on this now, then if I click on this accept, you notice it's been checked. So if of course if I want to submit it, to show me that I need to fill this. So I choose one of my email, choose a random password, and the female selector. So if I do this now, you notice it attempts to submit the page and it refreshes this. So our first task using JavaScript now is to try to prevent that, because if we finish collecting the data and the user press submit, it will refresh the form. Because it does that very fast, we'll lose the data. So the technique we use will prevent that default behavior. Then when we finish sending it to the database, which is the backend, then we will now reset the form so it will be clean, so that the person will not see his or her old details left there. So let's do that. So we are going to select the form. So this is using the submit. So using the submit event, we'll select our form. So I'll select form be equal to so select form be equal to document dot query selector. Just have one form, so that will be form. So that will be form. Then the next thing is to add an event listener to the form. So form dot add event listener. So add event listener. Type of event listener I want to add is submit. Then we'll add our anonymous function, of course, with our event object, because that is what is going to give us access to prevent that default behavior. So that's what we'll do first. So to prevent the default behavior, we're going to say e.prevent defaults, and this is a method, so we invoke it. So that is it. So if I save this now and fill the form, so you notice I'm filling it with a random password. Then I press this, you notice the form does not, the page does not refresh and the data still remains there. So the next thing now is to get all these things and put them inside an object that will be sent to the backend. So that is what we want to achieve for this form. So to do that, the algorithm that we use, or the steps that we use, is to remember that in the form each of these has an ID. So we are going to select each of them using their IDs. Then when the user submits this one, click this submit. Then we want to put them inside an object using their various names. So we have this one, full name, we have the email, we have the password, we have the gender, so is he a male or a female, then does the person accept the terms and conditions, which can be a boolean, true or false, and send that to the backend. So let's do that. So sorry, excuse me. So say let full name be equal to document dot query selector, then it's an ID, so dot that full name, so shift alt arrow down. So this one will be since it's not working. Okay, let me do it manually. So this one will be for the email. Then this one will be for the password, for the password. Then this one will be for the gender. No, it's not for the gender. We'll have male, we'll have female, then we have terms. I'll have here terms. So let's confirm that all of them has an ID. So the gender has an ID, I mean the male and female has, password has, the terms has, so all of them they all have an ID. So if we type them correctly, there should be no error. So next is to have an object. So I'll select to DB. So I have an object. So I'll put full name, will now be full name dot value. So that is to get not that. Then the next one is going to be email. So it's going to be email dot value. The next one is going to be password. So it's going to be password dot value. So the next one is going to be terms. So it's going to be terms dot checked. Then gender. So now for this gender, we need to find a way to check the one that has been checked. Then if it has been checked, we save the value for male. So and you know that the male is pre-selected, so if the male is checked, then we return the value for male. If it's not checked, then we return the value for this. So you're going to use a ternary operator here. So we say if male dot checked is true, then we want to return male dot value. Remember that value whether they are, then else female dot value. So to see if this works, we want to do our consider log of to db. So we'll fill this our form again, select the full name, select an email, put a random password. The mail is pre-selected. We select our terms, then we submit, and yes, everything comes here. So if we scroll down a little, you notice that we have my email, we have the full name, we have the gender is male, we have the password, we have the terms. Now let's select a female to see if it's going to change to female. And if we scroll down, we're going to see that. So you notice it changed to female. That means our logic here is correct or was correct. So the last thing I want to show you now is how to add the key up event listener. So you can use the key up event listener to get access to what the user is typing in real time, and to use that to maybe do a JavaScript validation. So let's say I don't want the full name to be just 2 characters. at least it must be greater than 2 characters, because a full name cannot be A and B. At least there should be more, it should be more than that. So less than 2 characters. So I'll use the key up. So I'll do a markup here. So below the full name, which is this, I'm going to have a div dot error full name, just like this. So I'll select this, then I'll come to my JS here, then I'll select error full name be equal to document dot query selector, then dot this error full name. So we have that error now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add an event listener to the full name. So remember, we've already selected it above. So it's a full name dot add event listener. Add event listener. So this one is going to be key up. So once the user types and releases the event, a button, so we are going to have our event update here. And we want to do a console.log of. So let's save it inside a value called typed. So what the user has typed, let's save it inside a string of full name dot value. So this is it. So to get access to this value, I can do a console.log typed. So if I'm typing something now, so you notice you see the result on the console. Okay, that's good. So if I want to say the length of this full name must be greater than what? 4 at least. So I'm going to let's use 4. So I'm going to say if typed dot length is less than or equal to 4, then we want to return something in the error message. So we say error full name dot text content. Invalid full name must be greater than 4 characters. Then else we want to remove what we typed. So error full name dot the text content should be equal to an empty string. So let's test this our application. So as I'm typing, so if I type 1, you notice it shows me that error message say invalid full name must be greater than 4 letters. I type 2, I type 3, I type 4, I type 5. You see the error message disappears. So that is how we can use JavaScript to improve our form validation, so that we are sure that the result that we are getting will be exactly what the backend needs, and that will leave error. So you can use that to play around this, to do the one to check if the password is strong, if it's actually an email, by using regular expressions, then and some other stuffs. So that is it for this video, and in the next video we are going to learn about class. And this is so that when you see us using the date object and the promise, you know that they are classes and we are creating an object out of them. So that is the essence of this class video that we'll do next. So see you in the next video.